Great. Onegaishimasu.
Onegaishimasu.
Okie dokie, good. We'll just start with a little bit of loosening. Just find a shoulder width stance. Just want to release through the feet. You can let the heels come up and down. Just start a kind of top-down approach. So just go think about the head, particularly the face, the jaw, just releasing it. And especially as you release the weight down to the ground, just feel it release through the face, through the head, through the neck. And then keep going, just gonna let somebody in. Right. Yeah. And then just take it a little bit further down. Think about the shoulders. Play a little bit with releasing them up and down. But again, especially on the drop of the way, you think about releasing down to the ground. You land the feet, release the shoulders. And again, keeping the face loose. Let it pass into the elbows, the fingertips. And just pass it down a little bit into the abdomen, the torso. And again, just think about releasing, particularly on the down. Releasing through the hips and into the knees. Keeping the knees soft all the time. Just let somebody else in. Nope. Great. And last one, just think about really releasing into the feet. So let them start to settle into the ground. Keep the toes in the ground. Just think about the mid section of the foot. Landing. Try and feel the release through the whole body now. So you want the in the face relaxed shoulders, also hips, knees, everything releasing down. Keep going. Now go. Great. Okay, good. Good. And then just really letting the feet settle. You're going to take into a couple of big deep breaths. So raise up, reach up. Add a little bit of a back bend as you take a nice deep breath in. And then you're going to hinge down, reach down into the ground with the breath out. And as you come up, just follow the line of the leg, trace up the inside, but through the center line. Take a nice deep breath up as you reach. A little bit of a back bend, hinging down with the out breath. And if you can make it with the nose, in through the nose, out through the nose. Good, and last one here, just reaching up. Let the body sink down on the drop into the hinge. Let the arms release. Take a couple of deep breaths here in the bottom portion of the movement. Release out the shoulders, the head. Keeping the knees soft. Releasing the hands from the ground. Just really shake out the shoulders, the head, spine. And nice and slow, coming up to standing position. Great. We'll take it into the shoulder. So this one, starting to roll backwards. Think about really opening from the chest in this one. So spreading open the chest. And use the breath as you're doing nice deep breaths. Fill up and expand. Also think about mobilizing the elbows, the wrists, the hands. Great. Good. And then taking it forwards. Same thing, think about really closing up in the front of the body, spreading the shoulders. You roll forward. And you're mobilizing through the elbows, the wrists, hands. Keep the breath nice and big. And you're just going to roll, alternating the shoulders out. Let the shoulders come up, back, down, and then swing to the front. Great. Good. Great. Rolling out to the front. Again, just alternating around the core. Great. You're going to reach up and open at the sides. In this case, keep the lead foot on the ground, so the same side foot. Keep it pressing down to the ground. Reach over, open up to the side, pull back, reach up, lengthen to the other side, press that foot into the ground, spread to the side. And just do this in your own time. So reach up, spread over, again, keeping the breath nice and big, full. Breathe in, open up the side. And then the next few, with that foot in the ground, as you reach up, get to the limit of it, and then just let the foot leave the ground. A little bit more weight to the body. And then pull the body back. Reach up, roll over, let the foot leave the ground. And really releasing out to the side. Spread, open up. Great. Last few. Good. Great. Bringing the feet into the ground, just releasing out the arms. Rotate from the hip. Soft with the knees. Let the arms just whip against the body. Good. And then with the back leg, you're going to just release it a little bit more, make them a little bit bigger rotation, and just start to find the shoulder. So releasing the arm into the shoulder. Back leg releases. Think about a rolling, whipping motion through the arm. And again, sort of releasing. Good. Good. Setting the feet again. Rolling through the hips. Nice big circles. Try and keep the head in one position, moving the hips around. Big circles. So change position of the hands. Add a little bit of pressure to the front of the movement. Nice movement to pass through the hip. The front. Perfect. And switching direction. Great. Keeping the legs wide, just take it to the knees. You're going to flex and extend to the back. In this case, coming up onto the toes. Bring the back of the legs together and then stretching up to the top. Pull the toes up off the ground. A little bit of pressure back with the knees. Add a little bit of a pulse on the down parts of the movement and a little bit of a pulse at the back. You like. Great, bringing the feet together, really for the ankles. So squeeze the feet into the ground and just going to circle with the knees. Mobilize around the ankle. And switch in direction. Good. Just a little bit for the feet and the hands. Roll in one way. Tension through the hands, tension in the foot. And switch in. Switch in the leg. And change direction. Great. Just plant in one leg down, take the other leg back. Think about being on a train track. In this case, the back leg toes are pointing forward. Think about pressing the heel down into the ground. A little bit of a bend in the front knee. If it feels comfortable, you can just inch that front foot forward, a little bit deeper, a little bit wider. But keep that back leg pressing down firmly into the ground. Great. Switching over. Again, on a train track, both toes pointing forward. Squeeze the back heel down. Inch the front foot forward if you feel it's comfortable. Great. Right, and then just taking a little bit deeper, this time with the back heel off the ground. Sink the body a little bit lower and just take it to a little bit of a pulse. Knees going to come a little bit forward at the toes. Just a little bit of impulse down, floating the knee off the ground. Pulling the body back, switching the leg over. Back heel off the ground, yes. Floating the knee off the ground, a little bit of pulse. Coming back, bring the feet together, let the knees come down and separate. Use a little bit of pressure with the arms, just the forearms. And just play with a little bit of a squeezing motion out for the hips. Working them out. You can also use the hands in the ground if you like. Think about pressure in and pressure out. So there's a little bit of pressure in the arm with the leg, pressure out with the arms. Good. Pressing the hand into the ground. Let the legs widen out to the back. Settle into this position. About gently pulling the hips up and back. Press the hand into the ground. If it's comfortable, just start to let the head lower towards the ground. Hinge the hip a little bit further down. And if all of that's fine, link the hands together at the back, just stable. Bring the hands up over the top of the head and just open up the shoulders. Take a couple of deep breaths here. Mobilize a little bit through the shoulders. Walking the hands forward. Lengthen a little bit from the shoulders. Let the head come between the arms. Gently pulling the hands and the hips apart. Great. And then press the weight into the hands. Bring the feet together at the back. And just walking out with the legs at the back. Pressing the heels down. Alternating them out. And then lengthening both legs back. Pull the hips up. Press into the hands. Again, just play a little bit of mobilization of the hip, shoulder. Keep the breath big. Press the weight into the hands. Let the legs separate. Just going to pull the leg along. One straight, one's in. Both toes pointing forward. Shift into the other side. Shifting back to the other side, this time with the toes up. Sink into it a little bit deeper. And walk into the other side. Yeah, just bringing the feet back together. About lengthening the hands down. You can take the bottom of the toes underneath. You can take the hands onto the legs, or you can also take the back of the ankle. Just think about folding down with it. Take a couple of big deep breaths. Let the body release down. If you feel any pain in the back of the leg, just let the knees bend a little bit. And nice and slowly softening the knees, pull the body back up to standing. Shake out the wrists a little bit at the top. A little bit up and down, side to side. Let the arms release out. Incline the body a little bit, release the shoulder, roll through the joints. Releasing out the legs a little bit. Right. And take it back into a shoulder width. Let the feet plant into the ground. Shake everything out. Release through the knees and shoulders. Now we'll just take it into a few swings. So reaching the hands up, swinging down. Release through the whole body. So particularly again on the downswing, the release down, so let the weight enter the ground, keeping the arms soft. Think about gathering up, releasing down. And also think about the breath following the motion. Probably feel it's kind of appropriate for an in-breath as you raise up and an out-breath as you sink. And again, if you can do it with the nose, better. And if you like, you can also do in through the nose, out through the mouth. Good. And we just take it to the side. So let the arms come out to the side. Just cross them at the front of the body, alternating. And again, think about releasing all the time. And for this one, explore, in this case, it's this direction of motion. We're going to do a bit of Jo today. So think about the shoulder being able to release this way. So rather than that way, nothing wrong with that one, but just for this one, think about the arm tracking an arc up to the top of the shoulder. Great. Perfect. Nice, nice. Good. Great. And then just let the body release to the shoulder. A little bit of rotation in the body. Important with this one not to twist the body. So think about the core being strong and the head resting on top of the core. So try and avoid the head coming out. Think about releasing down to the ground and creating a spiral path through the body between the two legs. And just let it release. And as you're doing it, start to think about the backhand in the movement. And just let it release also to the back of the shoulder. Good. So keep going. Good. Great. Great. Yeah, and then we're going to circling. So just start this with a runner swing. Let the thumbs lead the motion up and down. Start to open up the back swing. And feel the hips connecting into it. So as the hand passes the hip, think about the hip, bringing the hand up and switching it up to the back. And then with that, just let the body open up to the side. So the head's going to follow the spine. Looking side to side, let the hands come right above the top of the head. Open up that space. Yeah, think about releasing down to the ground. So particularly with this one, keep the elbows heavy, dropping back into the hip. Good. Great. Perfect. Good. And then if you can, take this into a circle. So just finding the top of the head, let the arm swing. And in this case, you're really just letting with the arm go one way and the other arm's going the other way. So if you get lost with this one, you can do two things. You can go back down the progression or just take it to one side, in which case you're just circling the arm. But again, the key with this is that the hip is going to kind of motivate the hand up and then it's going to draw it back into the body. And just let the hands float at the top. The movement, naturally let them release down. You're trying to do less and less with the movement. Take all the tension out of the body. Particularly the arms and the upper body. And every so often, just switch direction with the arms. Again, if you're doing it with one arm, just switch. That's so good. Okay, good. Okay. Great. Very nice. Very good. Great. Okay, take a jump. We're going to go a little bit into some catalog. So we'll just start with a little bit of ski work. In this case, alternating the side each time. So starting left side, thrusting in strong, and then you're going to change above the top of the head. Again, using that upswing from the hip. Let the hand switch, change, thrust in on the other side. So releasing up to the top, changing at the back, thrusting in. Releasing up at the top, thrusting in. Okay, try. Great. Okay. Okay. Yes, this middle movement's very interesting. You've got a kind of releasing movement, but you've also got a gathering movement in the return to Kamae. So think about this elastically. So you've got the thrust in, which is fine. Think about releasing it up, and then from this point, you're starting to gather. So you're gathering the energy of the body into a back position, and then you're releasing into the ski. So think about this release, and then think about this as a draw back into the structure of the back leg, and then release it into the ski here. So it's a little bit more flexible now. You're gathering in that moment, and then you're using that to squeeze into the ski. So think of the ski now as a release of that back portion. So coming into Kamae, release it. Release up to the top, gather, release it. You want the ski to be a kind of an expression of that movement out. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it. Very nice. Okay, so there's a few footwork patterns you can do with it. Play with this one because it's just a little bit easier and a little bit simpler. The front leg stays where it is, and you're going to bring the back hip into it. So there's a kind of, again, there's an elastic release of this hip into the foot. You can do this by kind of drawing back, but again, this quality of gathering into the body is going to be a little bit lost in this movement. So think about the front foot being strong. You release the center to that hip, switch the leg, and then draw back. It's a little bit simpler, and you're not pulling the body back at this portion. We'll do that movement for another set. But in this case, draw the foot together, switch, change, and then go. Draw the feet together, switch, change, and then go. That's it. Very nice. Right. Very nice. Good. And then we'll just take it to a different pattern, which is going front and back. Same kind of feeling. Think about using this middle movement as a kind of gathering for the ski. So you're gathering, releasing, gathering, releasing. So rather than it being a kind of stop, start, stop, start, think about it being a flexible pattern. And you can pause at that point, but think about, again, using this motion to kind of gather, gather, release, gather, release, gather, release. And that just as you reach that back portion of the movement, that's when you're in your kind of highest moment of tension in the form. And then you can release it again into the thrust. That's it. Great. Yeah, good. Very nice. Good. Yeah, so there's an interesting part of this. The first one we did is kind of going up and changing the position. That gives you a lot of space in terms of kind of gathering. So you've got a lot of time to kind of release and gather. This one's a little bit shorter, but the danger is the hips start to raise out of the ground. So I do something like this in the movement. So think about with this one really staying low, trying to ground the body. And most of the movement now is in this shift back. So you can really exaggerate this movement, but the main thing is to avoid coming up and over the hip. Think about screwing into the ground here with a spiral. This leg strong, and then you roll the body back. Okay, so I roll into this front leg and then go into, ooh, what's that? You go in, roll into it, stay low. Release it, stay low, release it. So there's no now kind of upwards release, just a kind of downwards sinking. And you're using the spiral to the back to generate that gathering feeling in the body. And there's something kind of interesting going on with the hands as well in this. You look at this. Yeah, okay. Very nice. Great. So we'll take this into a little 𝗧𝗡𝗅 work. We'll look at number 5. So you've got this kind of opening up to the top again. In this case, starting from the ski. Just for the left side, you're going to raise up to the top, find the center line with the hands, and then shift the end of the weapon, go into the strike on the right side. So 3 movements to start with, coming 1, 2, and 3 into the strike. Up to the top, release through the hips, striking in. Very good. That's it. Very good. Great. Very good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So one thing with this is that I can be a little bit too concerned with stepping forward through the third strike. So it's my feelings to kind of go forward with this, and then the body's kind of left behind in the movement. So play with rather than like, don't think so much about stepping forward, but think about passing through this front leg. So the focus in this pattern is to really get the hips in the center, rotating, rolling through this foot. So just play with this form, again, rather than skipping forward and out of the foot. Think about really passing through this leg. And there's a point in the pattern where you're really on just that leg. So I need the body to become stacked into the foot, and then think about releasing forward. So again, it's a passing through the hip. You're gathering the foot in this position, and then just put in a position where the hip can just press into the foot. Hip presses the foot, center presses foot, and then you go into strike. So just hang out a little bit in that position. A little bit of balance work in it, but then you want to feel stable. And it feels like you're kind of falling towards the ground. And the strike is then kind of squeezed out from that pattern. Yeah, good. Hasso, nice. Very nice. Yeah. Good. Great. Very nice. And then the next one is just a very short set. You're going to add in a 𝗭𝘪𝘊𝗧𝗏 to the end of the pattern. So you thrust, raise up to the top, find this position. And now this is just a test of this kind of gathering here. So you're just going to express the ski out. From this position, you can go back to the beginning, or you can rotate to the backside and do the pattern on this in this direction. So the key thing now is from this movement, feel the body's really grounded here, and then you just directly thrust out to the rear, and then you can switch. It's the thrust, draw up to the top, pass through the hip, ground the body here, and then release out to the back. So one of the dangers with this, with the 𝗏𝗢𝗡𝗢𝗠 strikes, everything pulls to the front. So it's a nice test of my ability to just ground and then just pass a movement in the totally opposite direction. So you've got a ski, you've got a 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗢𝗡, and then you've got an 𝗭𝘪𝘊𝗧𝗏. Very nice. Great. Yeah, good. Oh, great. Great. Very good. Right. So we'll start to work with the 13 Jo Kata. Don't worry about getting to the end of it. Just worry about doing the parts that we get to well. So maybe we get to the end, maybe we don't. We'll see how we go with it. But this one, in this case, starts in the left side in Jo Kata. Left Jo's at the left foot. You're going straight into a ski low, and then here you're going right away into a 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗡𝗏. In this case, a 𝗭𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗏, because you're going directly into it. So it's a ski on the left foot, and then you're changing leg, switching right away into the strike. So 3 parts of the movement. You've got the neutral left side posture, entering into the ski, entering straight away into the strike. And back. The first 2 moves of the kata is here, itch and knee. Very good. So this 𝗭𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗏 form is a really great one for this idea of just quickly changing the body. So think about as you do this, one of the tendencies to come from this is where is the sense of kind of dragging the arms up and then pulling them down. But in this case, you're doing something a little bit more sophisticated. You're just passing a circle through the movement. So if you want to just play with this movement, it's a really nice move to play with the hip. The back hip's going to kind of inject the Jo up to the top of the movement. And I want to give the Jo freedom in this case to really roll around the body this way. So it's not that I'm over controlling Jo, pulling it up, pulling it down, but it's a sense that the back hip, again, with that front foot as the anchor, is just going to let the Jo rotate around the body. So you've got that, this kind of feeling. And again, it's done through a kind of releasing of the structure with a strong sense of ground, and then there's a release of the backside of the body to change. And the more release that movement is, the more efficient it is, the faster it is, the faster you can change. Awesome. Very nice. Yeah, good. Great. Great, perfect. Great. We'll just take this into the third and fourth movement. So you're going from here the same. 1, 2, strong into the ground, and then you're going to use this back movement and raise the Jo up to the top. So this is going into a high block position. And then from here, just thrusting through on the right side. Okay, so the pattern in this case is to go left side ski, right side 𝗭𝗢𝗢𝗡𝗢, all up into the block, and then release into the ski. You can think about this really as an elastic motion through the body. So although we do stop-start, think about, again, gathering, releasing out the ski again. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 13 Jo Kata. Nice. Great. Great. And it's a very interesting move in this case, which again, it's quite subtle and tends to get lost if I'm too braced in the wrist after the ski and I go to the block and the Jo just basically passes up like this. The wrists have no kind of fluidity to them. So think in this case about, again, a release through the structure, and you're going to create kind of winding motion. So particularly the back wrist is going to start to wind with the movement, and the front hand's going to allow it and also add to it. And then you've got a storing again in the wrist. The forearm's really strong in this position. And then again, the skis kind of release out. So just play with this again. You've got this strike here, and then there's a sense of winding through the Jo with the grip, winding in, and again, releasing it out. And you're looking something kind of elastic through the joint system. Good. So the forearm's very mobile, the wrist's very mobile. You're kind of winding through the joint system of the arm. Very good. That's it. Great. That's very nice. Good. Okay, we're going to take this to the Hasso movement because it's quite a tricky one in the kata. You've got a lot of rotation work. We're going to just do a simple form bit to start. So just start with the right side. You're in a short position like you've done. You're in a kenkamai, and then just play in this case with rolling the hip back and rolling up into the Hasso-gation. So in this case, just the ability to roll open the body and then press back up into the Hasso. Right arm in this case is open at the top of the movement. The right hand is open. Jo's just resting at the side of the body. A really great pattern for the hip work. The sense of opening, coiling, reaching up to the top. So just a very basic Hasso to start. Let's see where we are. That's it. Perfect. Sorry. Okay, great. Everyone's fine. We'll take this into a ski now. So what you do is ski on the right side, and then I just want to play with mobilizing the leg here. So you're going to bring the feet together and switch up into the Hasso. So no rotation yet, but again, you're using the back hip in this case, very similar to the 𝗭𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗓. You're going to fire it in, and then the top end of the Jo comes up into the Hasso. So the pattern now is go from right side, ski, bring the feet together, roll up into the Hasso. Feel nice and stable at that point. Just starting to integrate the hip work into the Hasso. Right side ski. And finding the Hasso to the front. Yeah, good. That's it. Yeah, good. Yeah, so one of the tendencies with the Hasso, which again, when I go into rotation work, is really going to kind of twist the body and the structure and kind of create a meaningless, functionless movement in this case. So think about as you go into this movement, this is actually a block which is going to cover the body. So as you go from this position to this position, this part of the Jo is really kind of covering the whole upper body. And then from here, you release into it this way. The tendency is to push the Jo out to the side, and then I basically leave the body exposed through the movement. So think about going here. Think about using this pattern to cover the body, and then you cast the top end of the Jo out, and then you find the Hasso here. So, and you want to be nice, balanced, centered. Hips are closed. Jo's rolling across the body, and then completes up to the top. So And very good. Great. Got it. That's it. That's perfect. Great. So now all you need to add in is a rotation of the body. So it's just a switch of direction. So you thrust in, you open up the front leg here because this is going to allow the hip to really open. And then you find the Hasso to the rear. Okay, same kind of idea, just a bigger motion. Thrust in, open that front leg, and then you step across the body. Jo covers the body through the block, and then you're up into the Hasso. Okay, so you thrust, roll, open up to the top. Quite a tricky rotation. Again, requires a lot of grounding, but being also mobile. Take it nice and slow. In this case, the idea is you're blocking a thrust to the back. So that's the first portion of the movement. It's the rotate, change direction, change, and then find the Hasso. It's going to transition to a strike. So, yeah. Wow. Very good. Good, Krista. Good. Great. Yeah, good. Good. So again, one of the tendencies with this is that it becomes a kind of like a staff twirling movement. So it becomes something like a kind of rolling around this way. Think about this in this case, the back end of the weapon, like it's got a mop handle or something on the end of it, and it's full. So it's something kind of full. I'm going to kind of cast it out with the movement. So it's got a kind of whipping quality to it. So there's a kind of bite to this movement through the core, rather than the sense that I'm kind of turning the body and just twirling the stick around. So think about something full on the back end of the weapon, and you're going to really cast it away and then draw it up to the top. Okay, so that means the center needs to be really kind of biting into the ground. You do it. Okay. Let's play with that in. It's just to fill the movement out a little bit. That's it. Yeah, good. Got it. That's it. Oh, great. Good. Good. We're going to take this just the first half of it. So if you start in that first position, you go left side 1, striking on the right 2, up into the block 3, into the ski 4, up into the Hasso, and then from here you're going to strike on the right side, right foot forward, striking down. That's just the first real half of the kata. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the back, 6, releasing into the strike. Very good. Nice. Great. Very good. Very good.
Sorry.
Okay, great. We're going to quit through this kata. We're going to go into the 6 count. Just do something a little bit simpler, and then take it to a different kind of quality. So we'll cover the 13 again another time. Another day. So in this case, going to the 6 is 1, coming back to that original position at the top, striking down, and in this case, you're adding in a Gerengaishi, so you're pulling back, striking low, and then back into the mind. So you've got the 6 count now is 1, 2, 3, 4 to the back, 5 releasing low, and then 6 back into combine. a really good kata. Kind of variety of movements to the hip. Working through the hands. Start then, we'll take it a little bit more flexible. Very good. Great. Right. Okay, super. We've covered the Hayagaishi section of this kata when you make it fluid. So what I want to do is just cover a little bit the Gerangaishi section of it. So in this case, start with the right side. If you've made the strike, you roll the jo back. And then what I want to play with is just allowing the jo through this pattern. Okay, so the key thing now is to roll back, gathering into that spiral, and then you release it and let the jo whip back with the kamae. So just rolling back. Let the hip roll through, and then gather the jo at the back into the kamae. It's just now to make this movement fluid. The Gerangaishi goes right through. It's a nice full movement. Slicing through in an arc, and then right back to the hip. Good. Good. Yeah, great. So one of the things we practice a lot is it's kind of percussive movement. And in this case, it has this quality, but it's a little bit different. So it's got that same kind of percussion going through it, but it continues through. So it's not the sense that you're kind of percussing, stopping, and then bringing the jo back. It's the sense that the whole body's kind of percussing through and then coming back into kamae this way. So the work of this actually in this back leg, as it swings through, the weight of the center passes through it, and then you release it through the back hip. So there's a really nice pattern going through the hip work, which is this roll, and then this opening of the hip. And I need the feet to be very stable as I do it. So as I step in, all the weight goes to that front leg, and then I let the back hip really open. So play with kind of containing this a little bit. But again, it's the feeling not to kind of press in and then roll back. It's to really release the movement all the way through. So it's really one motion in this case. So it is a strike, but it's just going to follow straight through. The assumption is the thing you're hitting isn't there anymore. There's no block to the strike. It just goes through. Boom. Which could be the knee, or it could be the jo, or it could be just empty space. It's just passing through and miss. That's it. Yeah, good. That's it. Yeah, Krista, good. Very good. Got it. Very nice. So we'll just put this together now with the Hayagaishi. So you start with the ski, you go into the Hayagaishi, and then find this Gerangaishi, you're back, and then here. So it's really just to focus on 3 strikes now. 1, 2, draw back, 3 through. That one. You've got now fluidly through the transition. Good. Let's ski, Hayagaishi, Gerangaishi. Nice. Great. Good. Nice. Okay, we're just going to say this to one more thing, which is striking in, changing, land all the way into the foot, and then let the hip roll around with the strike. So you're going 1, 2, and then from this position, let the hip release into the strike. 1, 2, 3. So it's really now fluid through the strike. Strike into the foot, release, and let it go. So the kata is now really releasing from the body. But it really requires strong grounding, balance in the center. So we've got ski, Hayagaishi, straight into the Gerangaishi. There we go, great. Very good. Okay, good. Okay, great. I just want to finish with some releasing movements. So what I want to do is kind of shoulder width stance. I'm just going to start with a few deep breaths. Take the jaw out to the side, just resting on the side of the thigh. Keeping the spine neutral in this case, root into the ground, and just take a nice deep breath in at the top. So the arm's just going to come by the ears. Nice deep breath in, and just release it down. You're looking to plug into the ground with the feet. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Hold it briefly at the top. Lengthen up the arms. Press through the feet, and then release it down. To the top. Releasing down. Just want to bring the breath and the arms into the same pattern now. As you raise, breathe in. As you lower, breathe out. Nice, simple one to start. Great. Okay, now you bring the arm raise and you're just going to bring the foot forward. So let the arms go as wide as they can on the jaw. Bring one foot forward, root into that foot. And as you breathe in, you're going to bring the jaw all the way around to the back. Take it as far over as you can. Again, pause the breath at the end of the movement. And then as you bring the arms back over, release the breath back out. Bring the feet back together. And then you switch the side. Step the foot out. Reach up with the in-breath. Open up the front of the body. And then release down. Bring the feet back together. Nice full breath in. Nice full breath out. Bring in the feet back to the center. Really nice. So this one's a really great one to open the front side of the body. Open up the shoulders. In this case, you're just looking up at the ceiling or the sky. As you do the raise. Very good. Great. Very nice. Yeah. And then the next one, really for the back side of the body, you're going to take the legs a little bit wider. Let the hands be, again, just at the side of the legs. And then you're going to hinge the hips down. Keep the legs straight as you can. Let the hands come up over the top of the head. And then as you bring them back, just add a little bit of a back bend to it. And then in this case, you're going to breathe in as you take the back bend. And you're going to breathe out as you release the hips down. Reach the hands up and over. Breathe in as you come up. Hinge down, reach up. Nice one. Releasing the back of the body. And then open up the back side of the shoulders. Great. And in this case, you're looking towards the ground as you do the hinge, or looking between the legs. You've got flexibility there. Great. Very nice. Good. All right. Okay, good. Next one, really for the sidelines of the body. It's a little bit of a tricky one. You actually need a longer stick for this, but you can just about do it with the jaw. You're going to wrap the jaw at the side of the body, and you're in this position. So in this case, this top hand, try and get it so you can see, is in this position, and the bottom hand's the jaw's just anchored on the side of the body this way. Then in this case, take a deep breath in. You add a little bit of pressure out with this hand, and a little bit of pressure out with the top hand. So you're looking to basically open up the sides, and then if you like with this one, you can also add a little bit of a side bend away from the top end and then come back. So just do a few on each side with this one. You can start this at this top position here and then let the arm just gather around this way. Yeah, it's a nicer one to have a bit of a longer stick. You might feel a little bit short with the jaw. And just you get there, just think about opening up the sides of the body. Just do a few on one side and we'll switch it. You reach it, anchor the jaw to the side of the body, and then you'll take it this way. And the hands are kind of opposing. One's push, the top hand's pushing away, bottom hand's pushing in. Nice, so got it. Nice. Great. And if you've not switched, just switch to the other side. Take it there. Draw the jaw down. A little bit of pressure out with this hand. Take it to a little bit of a side bend. And come back to neutral. And this one, stretch, you want to be breathing out. Great. And then from the top position, we'll take this to a rotation pattern. So there's two ways you can do this. You can keep the arms horizontal and just rotate the body this way. Rotate the body this way. But if you feel comfortable with this, you can take the top hand, this front hand, let it go up a little bit, and let the back hand go down a little bit. And you can also release the back leg out to the ground and just start to find a little bit of spiral. So you're either rotating horizontally with the Jo or adding a little bit of a spiral to it. And the feeling with the spiral is kind of like a winding, like a kind of barber's pole up through the spine. And with this one, you want the out breath on the rotation. Take a nice in breath as you come back to center and then release it to the other side. Great. Perfect. Good. Great. Last one is just a kind of wheeling motion of the arm. So you take the legs a little bit wider with this one. Take the ends of the Jo. Again, there's two ways you can do this. You can do a short way and a long way. So I'll show both. The first one's just play with circling the arm. So you reach the hand to the opposite leg. You bring the Jo up over the top of the head, and then you take the opposite hand to the foot, and you roll from this way. A really good one to open up the whole body. Shoulders, hips. Take the out breath. In this case, as you go down. Take the in breath as you raise up. Just take this a few on both sides. When you switch, do it at the bottom of the movement. Switch over. So the release of the breath as you swing down. Good. Great. And then you can stay with this one, or in this case, a little bit more of an open movement, is to come down the same way. Let the Jo go all the way around the back, and then you switch to the back. Again, it's really nice on to open up the shoulder. So it switches at the back, and you swing down. Same thing, take the breath as the Jo comes up and across the back, and then release it as you swing down. And then again, when you want to change direction, do it on the down portion, swing back up the other way.
Wow.
Very good. Great, and we'll just start end where we finished actually. So find a shoulder width stance. Just take a nice light grip on the Jo, and just play with releasing out. Okay, so just releasing. Yeah, we'll start with the face. Just think about releasing the head, the face, jaws nice and soft. That's how you're releasing through the neck. Release through the shoulders a little bit. Let it pass through the elbows, to the wrists. Let the added weight of the Jo draw the arms down. Start to let the breath settle. Thinking about the abdomen raise and lower. And release into the ground. And really releasing the knees, keeping them soft. And lastly, just take a kind of pick up of the body and then let it settle. Pick up with an in-breath. Let everything settle down. Last couple. And just let the body be still. Especially to the feet. Great. We will stop right there. Very good. Let's bow out. Great. Domo arigato gozaimashita.
Domo. Arigatou.
Okie dokie. Great. Well, thank you very much. That was fun.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Hello.
Michael.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Good.
See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you very much. And see you tomorrow. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, are we on normal?
No, back to normal. We'll go back to
back to
normal.
normal
Normal
tomorrow.
time. Normal time.